Giancarlo Stanton is arguably one of the most prolific right-handed power hitters in the history of baseball as it pertains to the postseason. However, it's not as if he doesn't post good numbers in the regular season either. So why is it that he is much maligned by fans and media alike? I still have one of the more intriguing players in all of Major League Baseball and hopes you might view him in a different light. Giancarlo, then known as Mike, was drafted in the second round with the 76th overall pick by the then Florida Marlins back in 2007 at a Notre Dame High in Sherman Oaks, California. He was a three-sport star in baseball, basketball, and football. In 2008, in his first full season in pro ball in the Marlins system, he posted a .993 OPS with 39 home runs as just a teenager. And his home runs were not your average homers either. They were laser beams that caught the eyes of many back then. Just part of the impetus as to why he started to catapult the minor leagues, as after a 53-game performance in which he amassed an OPS of .1171 in AA Jacksonville, Stanton was promptly recalled by the Florida Marlins.
Stanton, left field, that's deep, go ball! Gone! Grand slam! Welcome to the show, Mike Stanton! Hey Rich, throw a little harder!
And made his presence felt immediately with an OPS of .833 and 22 homers in just 100 games. He sparked the once listless Florida team to a respectable 80-82 record. In his following three seasons from 2011 to 2013, listen to these averages he put together. 129 games played, a .902 OPS, 32 homers, and 30 doubles. Undisputable great play, in which he was rewarded with the Midsummer Classic bid spliced in there as well in 2012.
That ball to center field is hit deep. Back goes Parra at the track. It's gone.
He was one of, if not the most feared hitters in all of ball to this point, and he had yet to turn 24. And believe it or not, this was not one of his best years statistically, as those were yet to come. As in 2014, he led the National League with 37 homers and the entire league with 299 total bases. His trajectory as a future Hall of Famer was looking as seamless as ever, until this. A career-changing pitch for Stanton that just sailed off of the hand of Milwaukee's Brewers starter, Mike Fiers, that left Miller Park stunned. His titan, immortal body suddenly seemed mortal as he plummeted to the ground in sheer pain, with blood pulsating off his face. After remorseful Fiers came to greet Stanton, the car took him away in what was a murky future for Big G, as there was no real precedent for baseball players getting hit in the face that severely, the pitch, and continuing their career. With one example, ending tragically in fact, in 1920, as Ray Chapman was struck in the face with the pitch and passed away later on. So with that said, there were so many questions with and when and if he would return. And if he were to return, how would he look literally, as they questioned whether he would wear a protective face guard. He would end up missing the rest of the 2014 season, as you would guess, and in the offseason, despite having not played a game yet since the facial injuries, the Marlins would sign him to the richest deal in franchise history for 13 years and $325 million, with him being just a couple years away from free agency. There was an immense amount of questions directed the Marlins' way. Because of this, leaving them with no assurances he was still capable of being the hitter he used to be. But nevertheless, they plunged. And the plunging paid off immediately, as in 2015, Stanton had an OPS just under 1,000, as well as racking in yet another All-Star Game bid. So at this point, he's already had a genuinely historic career, for good and bad, as he was the only player at the time wearing a face guard, as well as the highest paid player in all the game. But believe it or not, the best season was yet to come for Big G, as the last campaign would propel him into having an historically good postseason run. But before we get into that, let's roll into his next season and lace you with his numbers in 2016, as he would put together another solid season, as he would have yet another OPS campaign of over 800. But that was only the appetizer, the precursor, if you will, of things to come in 2017, as he would have a season for the ages, smacking 59 home runs and driving in 132 runs to the tune of an OPS of 1,007. Each category leading the majors, as you would surmise, and the most impressive part to me, at least, was neither of those stats, but in fact games played at 159. The dude absolutely posted after having one of the more gruesome injuries in sports history. Giancarlo would then proceed to be traded to New York in the offseason, as you would surmise the Marlins' inability to maintain a payroll of above $50 million continued, with many detractors and naysayers questioning his ability to translate his performances to the bigger stage in New York, including the postseason, but boy oh boy would they be wrong, as the stretch of ball I'm about to rattle off cemented himself in the Hall of Fame. Giancarlo would follow up his 2017 campaign with a pretty good season. In his first year in the Bronx, he amassed an OPS of .852 with 38 home runs and 100 RBIs. But his Yankees would still be swiftly knocked out in the postseason, so questions still lingered of how clutch he could truly be on a big stage. And in 2019, the questions would continue to persist as he played just 18 games in the regular season. So as we trudged toward the 2020 season, Yankee fans were starting to become restless with their team's lack of playoff success. And Stanton was the poster boy, as he could not run around the bases, looking like an old man out there. And the maligning I mentioned on the outside of this video was starting to be justified, as Stanton had done nothing to prove that he was one of the mainstays in this lineup. So 2020 was pivotal, and boy oh boy did he deliver, as in 7 postseason games, he hit over 300 while roping 6 homers and driving in 13 RBIs. In 7 games, that's almost 1 homer every game. And he was by far the Yankees' best hitter during that run.
Giancarlo Stanton with a mammoth home run.
But there was still skepticism and pessimism all throughout New York due to the fact it was simply the COVID season. So for one reason or another, Stanton's first 3 seasons with New York was laced with scoffing. But like it or not, despite Yankee fans not being all in on Stanton, he's a player who's in the midst of a Hall of Fame trajectory. As every season but one, he has clocked 25 homers or more, but one as it pertains to non-COVID years, while spliced in there a postseason where he had 1 less homer hit than game played. The 2021 regular season was a typical power surge campaign for Giancarlo, as he roped 35 homers with an OPS just under 900, but the key for him here was staying healthy, as he remained on the field for 139 games, the 4th most of his career thus far. And in the postseason, he continued his magic, as despite his Yankees getting bounced in the 1-game thriller against the Boston Red Sox, it wasn't Stanton's fault at all, as he did his part with 3 hits including a solo shot. Now fast forward to 2022, as it was a forgettable campaign for the big man, as his .211 average and .759 OPS were both career worst for the designated hitter, and he didn't flip the switch at all as he typically did in October, as he went just 6 for 32. The 2023 season was way worse, even by his standards. Bottom line, not good. So trouncing on in the 2024, it was deemed a somewhat crucial year for Giancarlo, as even manager Aaron Boone hinted multiple times at the fact his playing time would begin to wane if he didn't start to produce more. But produce more he did, as despite a tick below his average in OPS, his power numbers are still humming as he cranked out another 27 homers despite missing over a month. And as his Yankees trudged along to the top seed in the American League playoffs, Boone and company were counting on him to continue his torrid pace when the games mattered the most in October and cement himself among the legends. And he did just that, and more, as he roped 7 homers in 14 games while driving in 16 RBIs, moving up to 3rd all-time in Yankee playoff lore with 18 home runs, while also amassing a .993 OPS. The take I want you to be left with here is just how good Giancarlo Stanton has been in his career in the postseason, and however you or Yankee fans may feel about his inability to stay on the field, run, play defense, his numbers in October speak for themselves and deserves way more respect than what he gets in my mind.